Hello and welcome to All I Do Is Fail. I'm your host, Tom Elwes. I'm joined today, as ever, by my co-host, Mr. Ali Woods.
Hey Tom, how's it going? Excited for the live show? That's how I'm doing.
Hyped.
Hyped. I'm super psyched. Shame that Horatio's not there. Mooch couldn't make it either.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we've got one of Volt's producers down to do it. Anonymous person. Who probably will be a delight, actually. Considering all the other people I've worked with.
At least they'll be there.
At least they'll be there. And not in the mibs.
Not in the mibs like Horatio. Yeah. We are joined today by the fantastically funny Katharyn Henson.
Hello.
How are you doing, Katharyn?
I got lost on the way here.
Yes. So, this is when, though, like, what time we regularly record any of this stuff. But usually, like, this place is quite tricky to find our studio. So usually our guests will give me a call and they'll be like, I'm like round, I think I'm here. And then they're just not. They're just like one road off or something. And I have to go out and find them. And that, as clockwork, 2 o'clock today, that was the planned time we were supposed to be. Get the call.
So that's clockwork 2 o'clock.
Sorry, as clock. So I was trying to say,
Clocked.
as clockwork at 2 o'clock. I probably missed at. But
I understood you.
Thank you, well,
Yeah.
because this is a very sort of testosterone heavy, but purely about
You make one mistake and we're like,
grammatical testosterone is
Yeah,
flowing around
yeah.
the room. Oh, it's going, you went into the past participle there. You fucking wanker. So 2 o'clock, he got the call from Katharyn. I was like, oh, don't worry, like a lot of people, I'll come out. And then it became clear that you were 6 miles away.
So what station did you actually go to?
I took a bus.
Okay.
So I got on. I think it said like. Avenue X. I mean, it was like a weird. Yeah, dude. I was like, all right.
We do record in a hall of mirrors.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I ended up just like on a residential street. And I was like, this is quite lovely, but I'm certain I am not in the right place. He was like, no worries. I'm pretty, everybody says that. And I was like, no. I've done this one.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Just there in the living room of this family's house. Like, I've broken in, but I can't see any recording.
Doing a podcast?
You exactly. Yeah, waking up some old man. Are you Ali Woods?
I'm like, would you like to hear my type 5 while I'm here, though?
Yeah.
For some reason they're Asian. I don't know.
So we should mention, so you're over from New York.
Yes.
Visiting London only for a short time. So thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Very kind.
How
have you found London so far compared to New York? I mean, obviously you're excited by the red buses. That's why you got on that, I assume.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, what I'm finding is I'm kind of like a big baby and an angry New Yorker. I don't like not knowing where I'm going, and I don't know where I am at any time.
Where do you live in New York?
I live in
nice accent.
Maybe Manhattan. Might have heard. of it.
Yeah. Oh, so you like really? You're not even like everyone I know lives in like Brooklyn or like.
No.
Yeah.
I used to.
Walking here.
Where? That's proper. Which bit of Manhattan?
I live in Harlem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
nice.
impressive. I know.
Yeah,
like above 59th. No, thank you.
Yeah, but Harlem's like come back around now.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Robert De Niro doing development there or something crazy.
I don't know. I don't know him personally.
I heard like Harlem was like being
That's
redeveloped as the
Michael
new kind
Che
of.
chats about. About the gentrification of Brooklyn.
and I'm right there. But yeah, I used to live in Brooklyn, but now that I'm in Manhattan, I'm like, whenever I have shows in Brooklyn, I'm like, ugh, they want me to go where? I'm very snobby now.
And like no one goes to Jersey. Like literally, I was just like,
I try not to.
Yeah, it looks all right, but then people are so like, oh god,
what's wrong with Jersey?
I don't know. People hate it.
It's gangsters.
Gangsters.
It's
it's just desperation, and it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not. It's fine.
The only crime is what they're wearing.
Yeah.
God.
Can you imagine if we were like in London, like, oh, people from South London, so lame.
Yeah, but I think it's sort of totally because me and Tom are odd in that we actually both grew up in London. Like a lot of comics in London are from various places. Well, like yourself, I suppose, with New York, because you've come there and you've pursued comedy. So we like remember there's loads of places in London that you were like never go there, like Peckham, Brixton, Kilburn. It was like stay away.
It's like Brooklyn. It's like Brooklyn back in the 90s.
Right.
Like,
you've got to have a good reason. Like if you were saying to your mum at like 16, I'm going to my friend's party in Brixton. Then your mum would be like, "What? No, you're not. Like you're not. I want my son back, so you're not going there." But now there's like where you get the best coffees and the best avocado on toast.
Right, like fourth wave coffee, or whatever that is.
It's like it's insane how much has changed. But it's exactly the same with Brooklyn. Like the crazy amount of people used to be shot and killed in Brooklyn. Like and now now you got an Apple store. So
Katherine's laid down the law. There, man. Sheriff.
I'm like I'm very white and I'm here. Hello.
So how you found the gig so far in London?
It's been a lot of. I'm just figuring out like what what the difference is between, because you guys call everything a gig, right? Yeah. So then it's like some things are like open mic.
Some things you've rocked up to and been like, what the fuck is this?
There's no comedy happening here. Sure, you've got to tell me this is some sort of weird seance or something.
Yeah, like I see a mic and that's all I see.
This is an AA meeting, isn't it?
Right. Well, isn't most comedy though?
Yeah.
Right?
This is like...
But yeah, no, I was at Top Secret last night and that was great.
That's a gig. That's a real
that was a
gig.
gig. I'm pretty
So
sure.
you've had one real gig.
Capital G.
Okay,
gig.
and what's been your, and you can say we don't care, what has been your worst gig in London?
Yeah, well, so there was one and they posted on like a forum saying they were looking for people. So I was like, great, I'll hit that up, like, you know, whatever, feminism. And so
there's a lot of eye rolling during all these
like
girl power, feminism, all that shit.
I mean, my version of feminism is like, I'll say whatever the fuck I want. I don't have to tell you why. That's pretty much it. And some people like to come like with more heavy hitting, like, you know, men are all trash. And it's like, well, I like that trash inside of me. So, you know,
very much on that side of things.
Exactly, right? So, but I messaged them and then they replied to me saying they'd, you know, like to have me do 6 minutes. I was like, great. And then they were like, just read our welcome packet. So I like open up this like document.
Here we go.
It's like a 2-page document. And they were like, what we offer you, you know, sound, lighting, a microphone. So I'm like, so a comedy show, okay. Like,
you'll never get this right. We've actually got a bit in the corner of the room where we've set up a microphone.
Right.
What we offer you.
What we offer you,
like,
lucky thing.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, cool. We'll promote it. I'm like, that seems standard, but you got it. And I'm like, I'll promote it, you know? And then they're like, what we need from you is like a guarantee of 5 people. And I was like, and I'm reading it further, and it's like 5 people for 6 minutes on a ticketed show where I'm not getting paid. So I like emailed them back, and I was like, you know, I appreciate it, but like I am not from here. Like I did the Fringe, like I did get followers from it. I do have like a very, you know, a relatively decent internet presence, you know, but like I'm like, I can't do that. I can't guarantee that. Like if you still like to have me, I'm happy to come and promote it and whatever.
That is insane.
Where was this one?
I don't remember what these people
we can call this bullshit out. Just tell
5 people? I've never heard of such a thing
but
in
so
London.
then they replied to me when I said, no, I can't do it. They were like, we totally understand. It's definitely a tricky one. You know, and I know what bringers are in New York City. You know what I mean? I'm sitting here thinking, like, I'm not coming from the middle of nowhere. Like, I'm coming from another major comedy city. Yeah. So, like, don't fuck with me. Like, I've, like, heard this one before. They were like, you know, maybe you could just bring 2 people. And I'm, like, sitting here thinking, like, I don't know if you understood what I'm saying. So I had to, like, kind of reply being like, I'm going to have to, like, politely decline. Like, I'm not at a stage in my career where I'm going to bring 2 people to do 6 minutes on a ticketed show for an unpaid spot. That doesn't make any sense.
The fact that it's ticketed and the people you had to bring had to buy tickets is disgusting.
Yeah. I'm like, they can just pay me and I'll do it for them in my living room. I would have to look at my phone. I really don't remember because I was so pissed about it. Though.
That's brutal. I've literally never heard of it. I've been gigging in London 4 years. I've never heard of a show where you have to bring 5 people.
And then I think it was like...
they have to pay. Like, I've heard of bringing shows, but not having to pay.
And it was just weird because I'm sitting here thinking, like, look, I know, like, who the fuck am I? You know, I'm nobody or whatever. But also...
Katharyn fucking Henson,
thank you.
man.
Thank you. Yeah, the father I never had right here. Thank you. Yeah. But, like, I'm like, you know, I am coming from out of state. And, like, I've sent you a tape, so you know I'm not horse shit, you know? Yeah. And, like... even just giving me just 5 minutes.
They looked at the table and were like, oh, she'll
like,
need to bring
5. She needs to bring 25 people.
Depending on how many.
You should see the 10 person.
One for every minute.
What we offer you is nothing off that video. You can set up your own night and bring as many people as you want to do that.
They're like, please delete that tape. Yeah, it was just kind of weird because I have all this material that's very like sex positive. Like, you know, I manage a dungeon in New York. Like, so I'm sitting here thinking like,
we were talking about dungeons last week. We had a long debate about having a sex dungeon in your home. It's okay, but you have to have a big home. So you have to have at least 5 rooms.
If a dungeon is your primary room,
you've got 2 rooms in your house.
Dungeon bed sit. That's not.
Yeah, you can't have a studio apartment dungeon.
Sexual stuff we came to the agreement is all about ratios it takes up in your life. So if you had like only 2 cupboards in your house and one was full of sex shit, it's weird. But if you had like just one drawer amongst all of the drawers, it's okay.
Okay, I agree. Yeah. As somebody who,
Yeah.
But you manage a dungeon. Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
Horatio's coming in, by the way. Horatio's
Hi,
He's not in Namibia yet. There he is, the producer.
Producer Horatio.
He's not banging around and clattering about to go to the toilet or whatever.
From you guys.
We brought up dungeon.
Churlish.
He's like, hello.
Here we go.
How do you manage a dungeon?
How do I?
Okay.
Well, I mean, like
Yeah.
any type of business, there's a lot of moving parts, so you need like a manager.
Sure.
So
And
I'm
I'm
that.
assuming it's a sex dungeon. It's not a.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not just a run of the mill.
It's not
where
for
the
Dungeons
foes
and
of the
Dragons.
crown reside
Yeah, yeah,
until
yeah.
they repent their
It's not some
sins.
kind of live action role playing. I'm a dungeon master.
Yeah.
could be.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
if they want that, yeah, we can do that.
So what? Okay, so it's a dungeon in
Right.
Manhattan.
Yes.
And like, do you have to wear? Is there a uniform for the dungeon?
Well, no, I dress. I'm the manager, so I wear my
business
regular
suits.
clothes. Yeah.
Okay, like power suit.
You're assuming a lot, Tom.
I
Don't
don't-
choose what she wears.
I don't know, I'm
Obviously,
just
a
Yeah,
saying.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
you wear power suit.
Mansplaining my outfit to
Because-
me.
Because of your gender, you would therefore
Power
be
suit,
wearing
that's what you're
power
wearing.
suit.
Yeah, I would just go.
Shoulder
Yeah,
pads.
but you're the manager of a dungeon.
Fairs.
Is a lot of responsibility. You'd
It
want to
is.
look powerful.
He's got the big old key around
Yeah.
the necklace.
A
there.
you're a dungeon master. You know.
You're a
incidentally,
dungeon master. No way.
I actually.
You're the jailer.
Well,
Yeah.
it's very hot in there. So like
Okay.
it's well, yeah. No, but like unpleasantly, the temperature in the office area and like where all the women
office
hang
area
out.
of the dungeon.
Yeah.
Yes, like
Fantastic.
where.
I love it already.
It's
Writing and quill.
exactly. The lamp.
Yeah. Send a raven. Yes.
Quick, we have a booking for 8.
the temperature is very uncomfortable, and we can't turn the air conditioner on in that area without making the actual dungeon area too cold. So it's overheated. So I actually wear clothes that I feel comfortable sweating profusely in.
Right.
So I normally am dressed in like very baggy attire. I kind of look like a 90s grunge lesbian.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the time.
Okay.
But guys like it because, like, part of the allure I think of like me.
Billie Eilish as well makes
Yeah,
it sort of
pretty-
big. That sort of like
yeah.
baggy clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. It's very cool.
Now, how many rooms does this dungeon have?
10.
10 rooms.
Yeah.
And can you take us through the different rooms and their apparatus within the rooms?
Yeah. So there's the cross-dressing room.
Nice.
And then there's a room called like the blue room, which
What happens in the blue room?
Jazz music.
Winehouse covers. Yeah.
heroin
Yeah, a lot of rude swearing.
Yeah.
and crying.
Yeah.
But it's just like the room is blue and it's like a dungeon type room. Like
Okay.
there's like a bed and like the cross and like
Okay.
one of those like leather body bags and
Oh, of course, yes, no,
Yeah.
exactly.
Body
That's
bags
what
weird
for
I'm
masks
thinking.
and-
It's
yeah,
okay,
big
but-
mirrors and like
Okay.
yeah.
So cross-dressing. Is the
lot of
cross-dressing
smoking in that room.
enforced?
Yeah, I mean it's
You have to-
Well, no, you don't have to because that's the most. I guess it's kind of like. It looks like a living room, but they've recently redesigned it, so it's very pink. But the guys who want more of like what do I call it? I'm kind of blanking right now. If they want like a sort of a regular environment that's not a dungeon, they want to feel like
Chilled
maybe I'm in
out,
a
little
living
bit more
room.
lounge.
Yeah, like and want to
Okay.
pursue that type of
Yeah.
fantasy. That would
Okay.
be that room.
Okay.
Just a sort of, maybe like I could be at home with the
Chilling.
kids.
Yes.
vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
Yeah, I could be.
But
just
then
on
something
My
my-
wife
crazy.
could walk in at any
Yeah,
minute.
Yeah.
But then it's not your wife. It's
Yeah.
a fucking
Yeah.
gimp suit
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
yeah, let's keep going through the rooms.
So-
What else we got?
That's
This
the
is
blue. So
good.
that's 2 out of 10.
Ladies, hide your boners.
Yeah.
Okay. It's then there's like a castle room. It's very. It's
That's
like,
my vibe. I want to dress up as a
kids with
full night. A full night. I'm going in there. The castle room. Is that like brick? Is that like old stone walls?
Yeah, stone
Oh, that
walls.
is exactly.
He's had this fantasy before.
Yeah, yeah.
Tom's
Yeah.
there with his.
Yeah. I'm
he's-
dressed
he's
as a fair
undoing the
maiden.
chastity belt.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't get it off, but I've proved my worth.
I would actually go.
You promised me. That's yours, mate. With the I've got
Bit of
2 lances.
lancing.
You can see one of them. Fucking hell, lad.
Bit of dueling beforehand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bit of dueling.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's like old school. Will people dress up sort of in old school attire?
No, I mean, I guess they can't. Some
you
guys
could
do
be like
bring
a
their
monk.
own stuff.
I would imagine.
Why am I the monk?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, you'd be a monk.
mate.
Yeah, you'd be a
In
monk.
your-
I'm
in
a
his
sexy,
fantasy, you're the
devious
monk.
monk.
Yeah, I'm there watching.
Yeah.
Commenting. I'm on commentary like Graham Norton on Eurovision.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
there going, oh, what's he done there?
Yeah.
So I want. Okay, I'm the monk. He's the knight. Right?
Yeah.
What would ratio be?
The fair maiden.
The horse.
Yeah.
The horse.
Okay, both rude. But
Yeah,
carry on.
yeah.
That's nice.
You would be an excellent fair maiden. Moustache and all would be, you know.
Oh,
The ratio would be the
namaste,
one.
brother.
Well, I don't know what the character is, but it's the guy who goes, "My liege." That's the ratio.
It's in the mustache.
Yeah. That's
You could
Yeah.
be my squire.
little bit of
Yeah.
stuff. He's the one that's like pitter-pattering down the steps as the castle's being overturned. They chase on my liege, and like
They throw me a
purse
bag of
coins.
coins.
Exactly, yeah. I bring news from the far west.
I'm the one who burns trying to get my money from the house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it, It's mine. Go down the pit.
You're pushing children out the way as you do it.
Yeah, exactly. Away, boy.
Away.
I'm on the crown.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Any
that'll
more?
be where.
Any more?
So you've
No,
got that.
all done.
Okay,
We
so
got that. We got that
Improv
room
Castle
and
room.
Scene.
to fulfill that fantasy.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's there. Then across from that room is the leather room.
Okay,
Which-
that sounds
yeah.
completely.
Sounding
different.
more-
One genuine question. Is a lot of it, I don't want you to like undersell or
That's
anything.
such a random.
One genuine question.
Is it real leather or is it pleather? Or
It is-
is
it
it
is-
a mixture?
it is
It's
pleather,
I thought it would
but
be,
you know-
'cause it's a lot of
Yeah,
cow.
it's very expensive. Now we
You
do
know what
have
sort of vegan uprising? You know, some questions
it's
asked.
fake.
Is there a
It's
pleather room?
pleather, mate.
Yeah.
it is all pleather.
Oh,
already.
okay.
Yeah, so it's all vegan.
Right.
Yeah, and hopefully organic.
It's very
Yeah.
important. to Tom's
Homegrown.
fantasy.
Yeah.
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 I'm not.
And that room, it's like red leather pleather
Leather,
walls.
thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
just
Okay,
don't-
we're gonna do this the whole time, aren't we? Okay.
Best producer ever.
Like,
Like,
I'm very
So,
vindictive about
so
leather,
things you want from a
pleather.
producer, constantly interrupting and makes noises.
he mainly does hype. That's
It really
it.
is a pleasure.
Yeah. Okay, so we got the pleather room.
we got the pleather room.
Okay, and then
And then that room has like a hanging cage and like another bed.
Yeah, it
and,
does.
like,
Yeah.
No, it's
and like
like
a
any bedroom will
toilet
have
and
those.
the whole deal.
So a hanging cage
Yeah.
that you can get in, that a human can.
Yeah, you put them in there and they
what do you
kinda-
do when you're in the cage? Just
Well,
poke
you
you with
can
sticks.
Well,
you
that's a
can
personal
yeah
question.
Stick
actually
poke.
yeah you
People
can be
poke you with sticks.
poked with sticks but like you can ride like the cage can be lowered or risen. So you can put him in the
Smart.
cage, but it's scary to be in the cage because it feels like, you know, if you step off, you could fall. So, you know, there's like you can put him up there.
Yeah.
Once he's in the cage.
And is there sticks for people to bash the cage with? Or?
Yeah, there's sticks, there's canes, there's.
Tom's
Cage bashing.
Tom's going about this like a Dragon's Den
sticks,
investor.
yeah.
Tom's like, well, if it's my money, I want to know whether there's sticks in there or not.
Don't bring me on sex.
When I'm going down there, the last thing I want to do.
How sharp can they be? How sharp?
The last thing I want to do when I want to climax is go to the stick store and my dungeon. You know what I mean?
Okay, so we got cage sticks.
Yeah,
right?
cage stick. We're learning about your
Sorry.
fetishes, though. I think.
No, it's just, you
Is
know,
this all in the
again.
leather room? Have I?
That is in the
Yeah.
pleather
All in
room.
the
Yeah.
leather room.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
and like
quite
a
the
toilet.
room.
There's like toilet fantasies. Really.
I
Okay.
didn't really get what. Sorry, is the toilet another room? Have we moved on to another?
Well,
oh, no,
so
that's
there's
just
like
the
an
toilet.
there's
Just the toilet.
actual.
There.
Just the bathroom. Yeah.
There's actual bathrooms like in each room
Yeah.
for the most part, but like then there's like the rocking toilet for like human toilet,
Right,
you know,
okay.
stuff.
Can we
yeah.
Shoot,
can we
I-
briefly go back to the just
Yes.
the castle one? What is
Yeah.
actually happening? Why is
there-
that a castle one?
Well, it's just I
Brick
mean it's
wall?
like a dungeon.
Is
yeah,
it like
it's
medieval
they're all-
torture
Yeah,
chamber?
it's very
vibes,
it's
aren't
very
they?
medieval.
Medieval,
It's
okay,
very
okay.
medieval. Whereas like the blue one and the red or the leather and
Bit more modern.
yeah,
Fine.
leather.
They're like
So-
50 Shades vibes.
So there's a
Yeah.
there's a rocking toilet. Did
Yeah,
you say?
yeah,
Okay.
correct.
And which room is that in? Or
That is in the pleather.
We're gonna
That's
get.
in
We're
the
gonna
pleather
get.
room.
We're going through the rooms. We're on room 5. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's okay. Next
I
room
went on to
after
Dom.
So
Yeah.
then there's the fantasy wrestling. That's like a padded room.
fantasy wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah.
What, like set up like a WWE ring?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's padded and it's for wrestling, and there's some wrestling equipment in there. And
What you just like wrestle?
Yeah.
Is it?
And then have
What
sex.
happens? Is it sort of wrestle and then turning into
You just sort of
sexual
get passionate
stuff?
about
Is
it.
well,
that?
so just I mean, there's no sex there. There's no fucking.
No,
There's
in
You're
the
not
rest-
allowed to have sex in any of
yeah.
the rooms.
no. Unless you're like
I thought that was the point of it.
What?
No,
There's no sex that goes on.
There's no sex or hand jobs or blow jobs. Like if I find out the women are
Mm-hmm.
doing that, they're fired because that's prostitution, and that's not
Oh,
what this
wait,
is.
what? So the women go
The
in
guys
there-
can jerk off, and they can jerk off themselves, and there is like cock and ball torture where like the dicks do get touched, but there's no like you know.
I got this completely wrong.
Yeah, I thought this was like-
couples.
Couples
were
were going in.
and
It's like a sex
renting.
party.
Like
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean,
swinger.
we do rent 2 couples, but no, we have like women on staff, and men make appointments.
Oh, right.
Oh.
So what do they get?
Everybody looks so concerned.
Yeah, this is
now.
sort of a
I
slightly
thought
more
it was
seedy
like
vibe.
this. Yeah, now it's suddenly like-
Now it's like, oh.
Do they wank at home then?
No, they you can
No, because you get really.
you can wank
I'm sorry,
there.
where am I meant to wank? This is.
I'm just.
I mean, if I'm paying, mate.
Yeah,
I don't want to wank at home.
No, you can wank there, and depending on the fantasy, like the men do. They finish by the end of the session.
Oh,
It's
fine.
just like the woman does not finish them.
So it's like a WWE ring, but all the men, it's only men in the audience and they're all wanking.
Well, that's, it's like a WWE.
So what's the difference between normal WWE? Am I right, satire? Okay.
Good one. I know. I just,
WrestleMania fans in? Hello.
That's just like quite a weird. It's sort of like a 70s porn theater, but it's
Yeah.
kind of okay.
So it will be 2 women wrestling often.
No, it would be
You'll
like
be
a
one of the
woman
patrons or the-
wrestling. It's messy, so that's what
Okay, hey, terms of the trade here.
well, it'd be like a woman wrestling with the man.
Okay.
And, like,
but
in
he's
a
not allowed
fantasy
to do anything.
No,
Apart
but I
from-
mean, he can do it to. I mean, like, look, they can have their tops off. You know what I mean? Like on their own discretion, or like be whatever type of nude
Body
like,
slams
they
and
want to
that.
be. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no,
Well,
not-
it's
not the
fantasy,
league
so it's
rules.
not.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
that's fine.
But like sometimes like certain
Grappling.
women will tap
Pedigree.
in or out like depending on the session, and then like the other woman will like referee like.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So wrestling room.
Yeah.
Next
okay.
one.
Next room.
Then there's like it's the red room or like the Victorian room, but it's
sounds
red. It has like a sex swing,
we have the blue
another
room.
bed. Yeah, it's similar to blue room. It has like a wheel that you can get strapped on and like spun around and like
Yeah,
a
that'd be
cage and like a stockade.
Sorry to ask again.
Yeah.
With the sex swing, no, it's 'cause you're not allowed to have sex, and
Yeah.
isn't a sex swing normally used for sex? So
I mean,
So it's a swing.
it's
so
a swing,
that you
but
wank,
like
you sit
you
wanking
can wank on. I mean,
going
you
back
can
and
you can
forth.
get an enema on it. I mean, you
you get
can,
an enema.
What's an anime?
This is
where
when they
you-
get a hose pipe and put out your butt.
Gee whiz.
Yeah. Fun.
Blimey.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
different things can happen on it depending
Sure.
on their fantasy. I mean, some guys like have the
Apart from
fantasy of
sex.
being suspended and
Having an
tied
enema,
up
yeah.
and being unable to get out, you know, while somebody like twists their fucking
But they've
nipples.
got to do all the wanking.
Yeah, correct.
We know someone who
But I
would
mean, you
love that.
can do cock and ball torture. Like they can tie up their dick and then
Oh,
they
sure.
beg for it to be untied, and then they might come immediately with no wanking.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry, you're talking about one of your gigs
Yeah.
in London. This is one of those gigs.
This is just me on
Yeah, that
stage,
sounds like-
actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
this
so
week.
Victorian room, and then what's?
Then there's like the like office, the vintage studies, which is like sort of like you know, like a school room.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? So they all pretend to be sort of students, and then a teacher
Or like,
comes out. Or
yeah,
something.
you can be teacher or like, you know, executive. Like it's like an office type
And
area.
what's an evening at the dungeon setting you back?
A
We
half
didn't go
hour?
through all the rooms, did we?
No, we
Oh,
haven't.
oh,
No.
sorry.
Let's
Oh, I
finish
thought
the
that was
rooms
the
and
next
then we'll
one.
get on to who we have to
Costing.
pay.
Right. Well, you're gonna need a plane ticket.
much is
so.
that?
Do you do tours? Their
Yeah.
package thing, like.
Then there's one called the jail cell, and it's kind of like the castle. Like it's, you know, stone walls, but it's very small, very not popular. There's like an open toilet in the room.
really a
You pretty
cheap
much put
shit.
people there if we have no other rooms available. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
it's
if
not-
you're getting lobbed in there, you're not fun.
Yeah, it's not fun. It smells
And
kind of
like,
weird.
so like open toilet. Anytime there's open toilet, there's a weird things going on.
Yeah, it's not like an actual plumbing open toilet.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's all in the one room. It's very small. It's like a closet.
Okay.
And some guys like that, I guess, like being like in a very
Wait, this
small.
is the jail room, or is this a different one?
That's the jail room. That's the jail room. And then there's 2 medical rooms.
Medical
Yeah.
rooms.
So like a
doctor's
pretend
office.
doctor's
Yeah,
office.
correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay. 2, because it's that
2.
popular.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Wow,
People,
man.
what do they want to go
Maybe
down
it's
at
because
the
you don't
medical
have
room?
free healthcare in
So
America.
much.
So they just,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
it's the
that's what-
taboo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, you can't pay your
Yeah.
insurance.
They want the
fancy
Whereas
of
for us,
being
it's like,
offered-
open your mouth.
Yeah.
They want the fantasy of being offered treatment. Like, yeah, it's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. My fantasy is, can you look at this hernia?
Yeah, no. I mean, there's a guy who liked to get his teeth cleaned, and he came in to, yeah.
Fair, great. Use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she
Just a
cleaned
sexy
his teeth
dentist.
for a half hour.
Wow.
And
Then you
at the
came.
end of it, yeah, well, it was, yeah, exactly. At the end of it, you know, he was like, do I have to tip you? And she was like, I did just clean your teeth, you know? And then she asked him, she was like, so how often do you do this, you know? And like, I mean, if you think about it, it's like once or twice a day for the last 18 years. This dude's a fucking freak. But she was like, how much does it set you back at the dentist? And he was like, it was starting to cost a lot. Because he was going to the dentist
Just to get his teeth cleaned.
to get his teeth cleaned
Every
because
day.
he gets off on it. So he was
Wow.
going multiple times a month. But it's like, if you think
What
about it, it's
weird
like
shit
$100
happened to him as a
bucks.
kid when he was having his teeth cleaned? Like,
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean,
Intense.
yeah, for sure. I've heard of
What a
some
bloke.
weird shit there, but like the weirdest one, like the one that I could like never do, depending on how even connect. Like if I felt like somebody was like my fucking soulmate that I could never do, was this one that
Tell them
happened
They love them.
right now.
That's the one thing I'll never do.
Yeah.
It happened like right before I left. This guy, she told me about it after it happened.
Right.
So a half hour is 190, an hour is 260.
So 260 for an hour is quite expensive.
Yeah, but I mean, you're getting everything you want in theory, you know, and a lot of these men are very rich, you can tell.
Yeah.
Some aren't, which is a little more jarring because they've like saved up to come in and, you know. But
Like, dude, you're not even wearing shoes. Like, no.
But there was like this guy, he came in and he was very, so there's like, you know, dungeon, which is like, you know, old, very gross white dudes. And then there's like dungeon hot, which is like, he's hot for the place. So you're like, oh, you know, and then there's
Which one's which?
And then
Quickly.
quickly.
Dungeon Hall.
Well, then there's just regular hot, where like when the
I
guy.
might get into the third category.
Yeah, right. That's why you don't interrupt women. Okay.
You're dungeon hot, Ali. Yes. And you're just regular hot, Tom. No.
And like regular hot, we're all like, oh fuck, that's a hot dude, and I'm like, fuck, I'd do whatever he wants for free. I would just go out with him. And so this guy came in, and he was just like regular hot. Like,
So what kind of?
What's he doing in the dungeon?
well, that's the thing, you know.
What kind of?
Something here,
What kind of people do you employ at the dungeon?
Women.
Is it like?
Yeah.
But like
all women, all female.
It's
But I'm
all
assuming
female,
you have
yeah.
to have a bit of background.
You don't.
No, nothing.
No, I mean that's the
You don't
thing.
have to have CV for applying for the dungeon work.
No, you don't. They like, you know, I'll put it this way: the women who like are good at their job and take it seriously are the ones who have like repeat clients and like
Right.
have set. I mean, own people. You know what I mean? Have slaves that come back just to see them.
So the guy comes back and is like, I want to see Patricia.
Oh yeah,
someone.
no. I mean, the dedicated ones are, you know, maniacs, freaks. I mean, really. And I not no judgment, but like sometimes they'll call over and over and over again. I'm like, I told you she's not here today. Like, stop calling me.
And,
you know.
and is it like a lot of these? Some would say some are married or
A lot are married.
Okay,
Yeah.
right, that's-
And I mean, I'm sure some aren't, but a lot are.
They get
Yeah,
money from
absolutely.
birthday present,
yeah.
Yeah. But like the guy who came in, it was just like he was regular hot. Like he was a guy you'd like see in Brooklyn in a bar and be like, maybe you start talking to him and be like, oh, I hope he like texts me, you know, like that kind of hot, right?
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, like you. And then, but then he came in and she told me what had happened after. She was just like, it was 30 minutes. It was like an adult baby thing, which like again, no judgment, fine, whatever.
We've
Nothing's
I've
I feel like you guys have that relationship.
Sorry.
So he puts on like this diaper,
Right.
and this is like what he wanted. He described what he wanted, and this is what happened. Like he puts on the diaper, and then she rubs his stomach and says, "Does baby need to go boom boom?" And he's like, you know, yes. And then he shits in his diaper, and then she jingles some keys in front of him, and he plays with them, and then she points on the animals on the
He shits
diaper.
himself in the diaper.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have a comic friend who would fucking love this place. You have no like. Oh my! I'm gonna tell him about it.
Yeah.
We won't name names, but like.
He's going to New York though. You didn't realise.
Is he actually going to New York?
That's going to New York, isn't it?
Oh my god, he's actually going really soon. You've got to give me a thing. He'll fucking love this. Like, since
Well, so then she points at the animals on the diaper because she's a mom herself, so she's like good at this.
Mm.
She was like, "Can you name these animals? Like, what's this one?" And he's like, "It's a lion." And she's like, "What's the lion do?" And he goes, "Rah, rah, rah."
wow.
Yeah. And then
the whole time he's on his back, like.
yeah, and then she nurses him. And then near the end of the session, she says, "Does baby want to go cummies?" And he says yes, and this is what he told her to say.
Go coming.
Yeah, this is what he told her to say. And then she goes, "One day, baby will be a big boy, and he can go cummies in mommy, but he's not a big boy today. So does baby want to go cummies in his diaper?" And he says yes. Then he comes in the shit-filled diaper.
Wow.
What? So he just wangs himself off
And
from it?
I don't
How
know.
much does that set you back?
That's
then?
$190 for a half hour. But like that for me, I like had to ask the guy I'm seeing. I was like, listen, I'm gonna describe a scenario, and if it makes you hard in any way, we're over. I can't.
Yeah.
Like I'm
And
very,
he was
very
like,
open.
No, not for me.
Yeah. Like I'm super open, but the thing that like maybe if it had been like a babysitter or like a teacher, but it was like the fact he wants to come in his mom, like that's what he deep down really wants, you know? And this is like a safe space, but like
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. Like that
I think
dude
more the
is talking to
shit
women in
fit-
bars,
Yeah,
you
the
know?
shit-filled
Wow,
diaper as well.
Yeah,
like,
I could like maybe deal with that once or twice a year. You know what I
A
mean?
shit. That is,
I don't
the
want
smell
to.
would be
Yeah, that's
horrible.
Oh
man.
yeah,
Gotta
you
keep it
really find
romantic.
out what shit smells like when there's no water. I'll tell you that much. You find out how important water is in a toilet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jeez. Can you understand what the?
That's what I knew every day.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Is there any like human toilet stuff where like people just sit and want to be shit and pissed
Yeah,
on?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And will the girls do that to them?
It's at their discretion. Like if they don't feel like it, these women don't have to do anything they don't want to do.
Okay.
Yeah, and
But
they
like-
won't.
but-
They'll literally be
but-
like, "You can go fuck yourself."
Yeah.
You know.
But like there's dudes who are like shit in my mouth.
Yeah.
That is fucking horrific. That's honestly. Can you imagine?
Don't kink shame.
Yeah, I don't want to king shame, but like if someone.
I mean, obviously coming from missionary corner over here,
Yeah.
you'd be like, "Ooh, how weird is that?" For a lot of people, that's
Yeah, for
normal.
these two-
Ali, this
yeah,
is
yeah.
That's just a Wednesday for you
Freaking
guys.
eats over
Yeah,
here,
it's
blood.
just-
That's what we're doing at midnight after the gig's done. Shit in here, lads.
Ali's Tinder profile is just him with his mouth open. That.
You think shit comes out of this thing?
yeah,
You should
yeah.
wait till you see what goes in. So, guys, what room are we all in? Tell me.
I'm medieval. I already, 100%. I'm dressing
Wait,
up as
which
a
one? Are
knight.
you going castle or are you going to jail?
Castle. I'm dressed up as a knight, and I'm gonna gonna bag a fair maiden. Yeah.
Fun.
What are you going for?
I quite like the. I don't think I'd actually come in there, but the wrestling one sounds like a laugh. Just sounds like a sort of good time for an hour.
I just like the idea of, like, you know how vocal wrestling crowds are. It's like screaming like The Rock, but like holding a sign and also wanking.
Exactly. Yeah, bring it on. On the top, on the corner of the thing, just jacking off.
Okay, so that's
Horatio, where are
you
you
going?
Where are you in?
Pleather room.
pleather.
Nice. Yeah.
Only because it's not real leather.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's okay.
Okay, so is that the strangest thing that you've heard? The shit for the driver.
It's just the one that I can't do for some. Like all the others, I'm like, I guess I could do that for somebody I love.
And have you ever had girls be on and they're just like, absolutely not, I can't even think about doing that.
I mean, I had a guy called, and he's like a military guy, and his fantasy was being like a FedEx delivery driver, and she was the dispatcher, and she was a bitch on the phone all day, being like, you piece of shit, you're terrible at your job. And when he got back to the FedEx, she was still like being like a huge cunt, you know? And he was like really play it up. And then he wanted to eat her shit. And then she was like, listen, I cannot.
That's not where I thought I was going. But
yeah. And she was like, I'm sorry, I don't do browns. Like, I just won't. And he was like, well, listen, I can't actually do it either. So what he did was he like pulled out of his backpack like peanut butter and granola. And he was like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it. And then you're going to pretend to shit it out, and then I'm going to eat it. Because he can't even fulfill his own fantasy of eating shit because he's too grossed out by it, but he wants to. So then they do the session, and then he eats the peanut butter and granola, and then, at the end, she's like, all right, how was that for you? And he was like, I didn't really like the consistency. Something's off. So next time,
feedback.
Yeah, he brought like Nutella, and then he tried like pudding cups with the granola. Like he kept kind of trying new foods to get the consistency of poop, so he could enjoy himself.
I don't have. Maybe I've just not been introspective enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't have the specificity of my fantasies
Also, I
as
feel like
these people do.
So, like in the UK, I know there probably are these kind of spaces, but generally my exposure to it is like going to quite like strip clubs in the UK, not like America. It's actually really depressing. No jerking off in the corner. It's just
That's
really
what he does.
Yeah.
No, it's strip club, a comedy club.
Honestly, the last
That's what he's known.
I've heard about you.
Tom Elwank.
That's pun again. That's a great one.
But honestly, the last time I was in a British strip club, it was just so depressing. It was basically like a pub, and there was like a postman in it. Like, it was just like real depressing. Yeah.
Well, but has there ever been a woman come in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there are women who come in who like might want to learn how to be better submissives in their own life. So they'll come in and kind of have a session with a dom, or even have a session with a dom to learn how to be dominant, so then they can like take it to their own. There's couples that come in and see girls.
Yes, that's what I thought was more.
Well, there's couples that come in and rent rooms on their own, and then there's couples that come in and
Are they allowed
rent
to have sex?
They're allowed to have sex. I mean,
Or
we
just-
don't know. We
we
don't
don't-
have like cameras in the
Sure,
rooms.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know
Cool
this
story.
is on the record. And
All right.
everything.
Do you ever get any celebs ever come in?
No.
It's not that fancy a dungeon, Tom.
Yeah.
They're going inside the eyes wide.
Yeah, I mean,
off
they're-
the record.
They can go to fancier places.
Oh, okay.
I imagine.
There's
There's
like the Walmart
Yeah.
dungeon.
Yeah.
Walmart, this is basic.
is for
Serving the everyman.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah,
190
for the peasants.
What's
You
it
know.
called? What's it called?
I don't want to say.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Well, look, you can like Google it. There's only so many. You know what I mean? But like,
Discount Dungeon, New York.
yeah, discount dungeon. That's funny.
Fun dungeon.
But just because I've actually because I do material about it, and I've had a girl like contact me and then go apply for a job, take the job, and then become very afraid and then not work there. I've had a guy go there and be like, I heard, I saw a woman on stage talking about this, and like, so I got them clients, but like my boss, he doesn't speak a lot of English. He would not be happy knowing I'm talking about all of this, but like, also at the end of the day, what are you gonna do?
It's content, isn't it?
Yeah, right. It is. I mean, I've suffered enough, haven't I? So
do you enjoy it then? Is it all right?
it's very funny. It's very funny because it's like I'm on the admin side of it, right? So it's like I'm doing admin for a very strange environment, and for that reason, like even just the things that we deal with, like I was talking with another manager right before I left to come here, and she was like, "You missed the big like blowout, the big drama between like these two girls. I guess they were at a sex party and let me try to think of names. I'll just make up fake names. Like Nancy said like that Patricia couldn't blow her boyfriend unless it was in front of her, but then she went to the bathroom, and then she blew her, so she was threatened to kick her ass here, and she was like, it was a whole bit. You know what I mean? Like this is like what you're dealing with. You have to like separate the women, you know, and like
That's fun.
yeah, like this was really. There were two girls who did not like each other, who were both like OG, like both have clients, both, and one of them ended
unusual. They wouldn't, two alphas wouldn't get along like that.
right, a lot of dominant female energy, and one ended up quitting. She quit, and that kind of sent ripples through the whole place because people were like, "What the fuck?" You know, if you got one of these, like, and so she quits, and the other one. So this is the only place I've worked at where people will like either show up like 6 hours late to work, like they're on time, or just not show up at all. And they try to enforce something where you then owe shifts, but like at a point, it's like if a girl's making this guy money, she kind of does whatever the fuck she wants.
So how does it work with payment for the girls? Is it
cash.
Cash.
And the guys tip too. But
okay. So what percentage of the money goes to the girl and what's like? I'm just trying to work out.
Honestly,
are you investing in the dungeon?
It should
Can you
be
just
more.
tell us?
It should be more.
It should be more. So if the half hour is like 190, she makes 90.
Okay.
And then 260, she makes. How much does she make on that? Oh no! For 260, she makes 90, and for the half hour she makes 60.
Okay.
On 190. So it's not.
But will they get tipped crazy sometimes?
They do get tipped crazy sometimes, yeah. And sometimes they don't get tipped at all, you know. But the ones that are really good at their job have established like things with clients where it's like, you're tipping me this amount of money or I'll never see you again. And these guys become obsessed, so they'll just do it, you know. So like one of the girls involved in this story is one like that, and then the other one also had a big clientele. So the one quits, and the other one was supposed to be in shift but hadn't shown up all day. But I guess got wind that the other one quit, showed up to work at the end of her shift, and I can like see her in the cameras, and she's like dancing, you know, and I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm like, and so she comes in, she's like, today is a great day. I brought cake. I made one of my slave bitches buy me a cake. And when you opened up the cake, she had made this guy like get a custom cake that said like happy fucking day, so she could celebrate that the other one was gone, and basically showed up to work to be petty, you know.
Insane.
And it was like, who wants cake? You know, it was fucking insane. And like, you know, I'm like, fuck, I want cake, but I don't want to eat the cake because I'm not picking sides here, you know, because I'm like,
you don't want
I'm pretty cool with everybody, you know, for the most part. Sometimes they decide. I had a girl decide she just hated me one day, and I have no idea what happened. We used to be cool. She was getting real frosty at me, and then, you know, I tried to have a conversation with her.
Because of the cake thing, I was like, she got real frosting on I was like, fucking hell, is that?
You've had your one pun. Like,
I was thinking, like, is that how they do things? It's like, she brought me cupcakes, she hates me, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never know.
Getting frosty on my head.
Like, we had a conversation, and she just basically was like, you know what, I'm just, like, going to keep my distance and whatever. And I was like, all right, you know, I mean, there was a weird thing where, like, somebody had left Coke in the bathroom, and then people are like trying to point fingers, but I guess she's the one who found whatever. And somebody tried to.
Drugs not allowed.
The thing is like, no, but they're there, you know? And one of them straight up sells drugs to like people there. And like, so it's like somebody tried to say it was mine. So my boss came to me and I was like, look, I was like, first of all, I don't do Coke at work. But I was like, secondly, and this is, you know, I was like, secondly, if I was, you know, doing it, I wouldn't be dumb enough to leave it in the bathroom. Yeah. So I was like, there you go. And so I don't know, this girl, like, she just decided she didn't like me anymore, which sucks because I really still like her. I thought she's cool, but like it was weird. It just something shifted one day in her mind, and she was like, I don't like me anymore. Oof. Yeah, so it's weird.
You'll never do that with me, Tom. You don't like me anyway.
I don't like
Things can change in an instant.
Yeah.
Really
when Coke's involved, then you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's Coke I know is O-Cola.
Yeah.
Mum.
No, that is insane. We're going to talk about our fails. I don't even know if we should.
Let's go straight to the next break.
Yeah.
Should we have a break?
All right. Yeah.
We need to
call
do
it a break.
the ident there anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Well, that was a fascinating intro to your life. Thank you, Katharyn. We are going to move on to fail of your life.
Yes.
Take it away. The floor is yours.
Well, so this might not sound like a fail at first, but I do consider it a fail. Okay. I work at this place that we just spent all that time talking about, and so I did the Fringe this year, and before I went to the Fringe, they were filming a video for like a client that nobody knows, and the girls.
So who's they?
So the girls, with the permission of the owner, were basically commissioned by the owner, were
to do like a promo.
To do a video. I didn't know what the video was for. And it turns out like it's for like a client like somewhere in theory overseas, right? And the video they needed a receptionist character. And they asked me, so my name there is Denise, like, because we all have fake names, and I picked Denise because I thought it was very funny.
Oh, is it? Do you ever tell anyone your real name, or is it just your?
No, I mean, well, look.
Oh,
like,
it's sort of like
noir.
what's the Tarantino film? Mr. Black, Mr. Blue, Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, right, yeah. So I'm Denise because I thought it was like not sexy. You know, I think it's very funny. I'm like, it's Denise. What can I get you? You know, diner
like
waitress.
Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
Sort of
Yeah.
that.
I was going for the Twin Peaks reference. Yeah.
Well, but you've got to come down to my level. You know what I mean?
I forgot. I'm sorry.
What's the Pixar film?
What names would you go with?
For me or
Yeah.
for you?
No, you. For you. What would
Any
you go
name
for?
for you, lad.
Yeah.
Anything will do.
It'd probably be Gavin.
Gavin. Yeah. What about you, Ali?
Well, now
I
you
thought
say
we were
Denise,
picking
I sort
ladies'
of want to be
names.
called Patrice.
Oh, if I was a lady.
A lady
Yeah,
name.
lady
As a
names.
lady, it'd be.
Well, any name can be for
Sandra.
anyone. Is my
Leslie.
official partly line. But I would go for Genevieve.
Ooh, that's nice.
That'd be fun. Oh no, I'd go for something more elaborate. Mine
Tom
would-
gave me a look there,
Yeah.
like a sort of,
okay,
like he just
okay.
briefly
Genevieve.
thought of me as
Yeah,
Genevieve.
yeah,
I was
That's a
like,
nice one.
are you on
Yeah.
Hinge? Like,
Yeah, no, I don't know. If you could be anything,
you would go for
like Big Dick McMoneybags or something, like something casual.
but that
Money
would be your
bags.
name.
Yeah.
But that comes across already.
No, I
by
know.
your
Oh,
sort of
that's-
insecurities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Denise.
Howard. I've always liked to be a Howard.
That's my
Howard's
dad's-
there,
Yeah.
mate.
That was my dad's name.
Yeah, Howard. I quite like a Howard.
Now-
Very sensible.
Yeah, you find that women choose the same names a lot. You know, we've had like Jade like 7 times over. You know what I mean? And sometimes the guys called her like, "Is Jade back?" I'm like, "No, it's a new Jade." You know, like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jade is here, not that Jade.
But like
So-
Jade's like a good. That's like a. Could be
I
a-
guess I mean it really. There's so many names. Like I don't get why. It's sort of funny to see like herd mentality. People gravitating towards what they like think would be a good name, and then that get repeated a lot.
Cassandra or something. Yeah.
Cassandra's a nice one. Yeah.
Yeah, or like. I'm trying to think.
Ethel.
What would be the least?
Ethel,
the
yeah.
least sexy name ever.
I thought Denise was kind of, but I mean I guess
Gertrude.
Gertrude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Denise
Janice.
is pretty.
Janice.
Yeah. Karen.
Okay.
Wicked.
So they were filming a video for a client, and they needed a receptionist character. And I guess they asked my boss, and he said sure if I wanted to do it. So they asked
they
me.
asked your boss if you could do it.
Yeah, because like as a manager, like I don't do any of the stuff, and like you know, there's things called tip-ins and whatever, like where basically you can go into a session for up to 15 minutes. And like with girls, like the girls like go in for 15 minutes and then the guy just tips that girl, and it's not part. It's like it's separate from the session, but she's in that session. So sometimes like guys want me to tip in, and I have only ever agreed to do it if it was pretty much under 3 minutes. Like for whatever reason, sometimes guys, it's either they like the way I look or they like the idea that I don't do the stuff, you know?
yeah, gets 'em
So I've like had to see some shit that I didn't want to see, but for 2 minutes for like $40.
And
you
you'll
know?
have to stand in the corner and just be like, "Ugh, what the fuck?"
Yeah, I mean, I had to witness maybe one of the weirder. It was just like the vibe was weird, and I had already told him no, and I told her to tell him no, and then she called me from the room in the session. She was like, "Denise," I was like, "Fuck it, I will come in, but it's gonna be 2 minutes or less." And he was like riding her dildo like on top, and like, and he was like, "Do you like the way I'm doing it?" I was like, "Honestly, you could be doing better." And I was like, "And you got like 1 minute, you know, like." But so basically, yeah, I don't do the stuff, so that's why it's sort of like they asked him if I could do it. So I was like, sure, I'll be the receptionist character. So my role in this video was like I brought a girl in the room, and I took off her shirt, and I chained her up, and then I tickled her torso, and I said, "Have fun," and then I left the room. So then I leave for a few months because I'm like doing comedy, I'm at the Fringe, I'm doing whatever, and I come back, and then like maybe a month ago, it was probably a month ago, I wasn't at work, but my phone was getting blown up by my boss and like the number there, and I was like, "Fuck, what did I fuck up?" Because like, you know, and so I call him back, and I'm like, "Hi," and he's like, "Denise, like, you remember video?" And I was like, "Yeah, I remember." I was like, "You told me I could be in the video," and he was like, "Yes, well, the man wants to see you tickle the girl." Like in a new video, right? In a new video, he was like, he wants.
They want a sequel.
He wants to see you tickle the girl, and I was like, "I'm not gonna wear any of the outfits. I'm not doing any of that." And he's like, "No, he just wants to see you tickle the girl, half hour, $150."
Wow.
So I was like,
baggy
But
clothes,
that's still quite.
tickling.
that's good money, but then like if it's a video,
Well, that's what I'm
it
saying.
sticks around.
That's where the fail is.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
because like, so I was like, you know, all right, what day and time? Like, you know, yeah, I can be bought. So I show up, and to be fair, like I did a little cocaine before I went because I was like, you know, win in Rome, right?
Because you want to get that tickling muscles going.
I was like, let's just add.
You like
add
this
to the
tickle? You
experience.
like this tickle?
Yeah. And so
We start a business about tickling. Everyone loves tickling. People don't admit it, but they do.
yeah, right. Oh, that's funny.
Thank you. That's fucking takes a fucking hour. doesn't
He's
it?
gonna jizz now, so thanks for that.
Well, that's his fetish, right?
Yeah.
I asked her to do that before we started recording, and that's not even a lie. So
I get there, and like the girl that was supposed to be tickled was gonna be like 2 hours late. So now I'm just like a high on coke at like 11 in the morning, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll come back in like 2 hours, you know. So I go home, and I'm like, well, I can't not keep doing cocaine now. Like what was supposed to happen was I was going to do the coke, I was going to go do the tickling, I was going to come home, I was going to nap, and then I was going to go to my next job that night. That night I happened to be doing like an event for like a very high-end clients, like basically like the 1% of Manhattan. So like separate but like the same. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
it's still service industry.
yeah, exactly. So now I'm just like, well, I guess I'm like doing cocaine today because like, you know, so I do more coke. I go back 2 hours later and I get there and they're like, have you gotten the script? And I was like, what? Like, what script? And I get handed this script. Now, my section was only 30 minutes, but it was like a 2.5 hour long script that this man had written.
Oh, he wanted a full movie produced.
He wanted just to put this in context, Titanic was 3 hours. Do you know what I mean? Like
And he wanted 2.5 hours with like, so you wanted a full storyline with a bit of tickling in between.
with tickling.
What was the plot?
Before
Was he a Mr.
tickling.
Man? Was he Mr. Tickle? Just
What was the plot of the story?
So I only really know my part. But like what happened was because the girl had been so late and everybody's schedules were different. And I got there and I was like, well, I have to leave by this time. And I'm only supposed to be here 30 minutes anyway. We had to do rewrites. Like
It's like Hollywood. Like
Yeah,
you
the
write
writing,
you write a film about
Yeah.
set in space and it's on a submarine and like, you know, change it all.
Yeah, after you expose your nipples, where can we go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's because it was like, they were like, Denise has to enter. So in the script, he had wanted me to wear something that gave me an unfair advantage, like a corset. And I was like, I am not wearing anything.
An unfair
I am
advantage
wearing
over who?
over the girl being tickled, who was like topless or something. I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? This is like some shit in his mind where he's like,
I would
"Ugh."
have gone art house with it. I would have made like an art house, you know, tickle cinema piece, black and white,
Yeah.
thin at the end.
Yeah,
you
sounds
know,
good.
could have been magic.
La Tickle Monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
so,
a
And it's
noir
actually
kind
a
of
sort of-
through the blinds, just like
Yeah, and it's actually sort of like satirizing the way we sort of reach out to people but don't actually connect with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By Horatio, that's the sort of thing you'd watch. and
5
go,
stars.
and go,
Uh.
yeah, like it is wanky, but it is also good.
tickling, le force, laughter.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you want to go up to the story? Yeah.
So I go in there and we do these rewrites and everybody is wearing like pleather and masks and whatever. And we start taping, right? And they're like, oh, Denise is here now. And I'm like, what do we have here? And like, I don't have it in me to not, like, I don't have, like anything I do that's sexy is very private with like whoever I'm doing it with. And it can be very weird, but like it's very, you know, so I'm just like there and I like get this paintbrush and I'm like, oh, it's the Bob Ross of tickling and like happy trees. Like, and I just like,
That's a great line. That's a good line.
yeah, but I'm just like,
tickling.
you know, and they're like, kind of like, what do you do? And I'm like, I don't know. And, you know, they're like, oh, you tickle slut. And she's like, I'm a tickle slut, you know. And, like, and she's like, yeah, like at a point we had to stop filming.
I'm a tickle slut.
Well, because it's so ridiculous, and it's like 2 hours, and we have all this stuff. Like one girl that I know, she had like her mask on, and she was like opening this comb, and we're like in the corner. She's like opening it up to go like tickle her with it, and we make eye contact, and she just like rolls her eyes. She's like, "This is fucking ridiculous." I was like, "I know." So we're like tickling this girl with all sorts of things, and she's got like mitts on, is hanging there, like I'm a tickle whore, like, you know, whatever, the whole thing.
It's got mittens on. What?
Well, yeah, because there was part where we had to put the mittens on, so like when we untied her, she couldn't like hit us or do anything. So she has like, you know, these. Like,
Oh, so she came down from the tickle wall.
yeah, we got her down from and like and so then I like part of the plot was like there were keys that would set her free, but I had them and I wouldn't give them to her.
It's
and
like
I
a plot of Saw, but with Tickle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Even
That's
scarier.
Yeah.
That's part of my joke, and that you know that I do. I'm like, it's like the movie Saw, but nobody dies.
Yeah.
And do you want to play a game? So you know, like, so I had these keys, and then you know, all the girls left, and I was like, well, I'll give you the keys, like if you let me tickle you, you know. And I was saying, like, at a point I kind of got into it. I was like, say you love tickles. She's like, I love tickles. I was like, scream it with feeling, you know. And like,
Wow.
it was fun.
You became the tickle monster.
Yeah, I was so. Filming, like, for me, reps. They're like, all right, well, Denise, like, your scenes are done. But then it was pretty much at that moment that I was looking around, I was like, everybody in here is wearing a mask except for me. I'm the only one not wearing a mask. I'm, like, in my normal clothes, but it's, like, me.
Yeah.
And I'm, like, I, like, look at this girl, and I'm, like, do you think, like, I was, like, this is, like, for a client. She's like, I mean, that's what he says, you know? And I'm, like, do you think it's bad I wasn't wearing a mask? And she's like, if you're going to be dumb, do it bravely. And I was like, oh. I was like, and so I was like, I made $150 to like be in a tickle porn.
It could end up on Pornhub. Like,
yeah, I mean, and granted, like all my clothes are on, and
Yeah.
I'm not being tickled. They tried to tickle me at one point. I was like, "You're not fucking tickling
That's
me.
not in
I'm not
contracts.
giggling." Yeah,
I'm the tickler, not the ticklee.
yes, exactly. But so I basically made $150 to now technically be in a porn
Have you
star.
found it on the internet?
I haven't even looked, but I'm getting ahead of it by telling everyone.
Stop typing. God.
Yeah.
on the research for this show. As
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
So.
So
Tickle.
I would consider that a fail in terms of negotiating.
that's real.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you know, one thing that I think is so embarrassing. I had a guy try to haggle with me on Christmas. I worked Christmas Day there. I had a guy actually try to
real
haggle the
depressing.
price with me on Christmas.
Come on, it's Christmas.
Yeah, he was like, I want to speak to the owner. I was like, fucking go for it, because I'm not going to change the price for you on Christmas. Like, who are you?
Imagine if you were leaving your family on Christmas Day to quickly take a trip to the dungeon to huff shit
Well,
and
yeah.
then come back.
Well, what
like,
was funny is like, he then like.
that's a real depressing thought. Like, sorry
See
guys,
you
I'm
later,
gonna
guys.
step
I'll
out.
be back in 2 hours. Just going to the dungeons to have
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Bye.
When he, like, you know, they quickly, first they're very like, you know, oh, I wanted this and that. And I was like, you know, no, you can like fuck off. And he was like, all right, I'll pay it, you know, like, and then they'll come and do it. But it's very
Yeah,
sad.
that kind of type, you can just say fuck off and they'll.
Oh, yeah, they'll
roll
come
over so
sniveling
easy.
back,
Or
like,
they'll literally come.
Yeah. Yeah, some guys
That's it.
just
It's rubbing
call,
off on me. Fucking.
you know, and you
the
get
puns.
used to their accent on the phone, you know, their cadence. Like, you know who the freaks are, who just want to call.
Sure. Yeah.
One that just called up and be like,
Like you hear it, like there's like this guy with a southern accent. He's like, "Hi, I'd like to like book a mistress, whatever." And I know him now because then I'm like, "Okay, when would you like to come in?" And he was like, "I'm a naughty boy," you know. And he's like, and so now I just like hang up on him.
What time though? What time?
Yeah,
I'm a naughty boy.
Yeah, I know you're annoyed.
You don't
Like
give
2
me the
p.m.
book in. You're being very naughty. Actually.
Yeah.
Very naughty.
we have a
Now,
chat.
we have an online booking system. If you want.
yeah.
We do have a chat, and like it's so funny. Sometimes get on the like this guy got in the chat, and he
What
was
like a?
Yeah.
What can I help you with? Kind of.
yeah,
any
kind like
queries?
yeah. Like I've had two pretty fun. Well, I've had more than two, but like one was like, I want to leave my wife and worship a black mistress, and I was like, what time? And he was like, 2 p.m.
Not before. I've got a lunch.
I've got a thing with my wife
afterwards.
after.
Yeah, I'm going to have lunch with my daughter. She
Yeah,
works
I've
in
got
the
a brunch
city.
thing and then
But at 2, I'll see you and that black mistress there.
It's Black Mistress time.
He's got that in the Google Calendar.
yeah.
There was another guy. He was like,
His wife seeing it. Like, what was that?
yeah.
No, don't worry.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, it's the
When
company I'm
I
working
leave,
with.
when I leave
yeah.
you, just put Black Mistress.
There was another guy. He was like, I'd like to come in and absolutely wreck her with pies. I want to just completely, yeah. That was a quote. Absolutely wreck her with pies. And
See, it's like British slang. Like, I'm going to pie her or something. That's sort of like...
and he wanted her to wear like a ball gown. And he was like, "Is
And
this
he
something
just-
you guys can do?"
Is it Krusty the Clown? Who?
I don't know.
who's
He wanted to just wreck this bitch with pies.
Could he
while
do
she
that?
was-
Is he allowed to do that? Then?
Yeah, if he brings the pies, he can do whatever.
Do you
much-
have a ball gown? Like,
We don't have a ball gown. We have a lot of other things. So,
Cool.
but I mean,
An
sometimes
issue for you.
sometimes the
So
girls
she-
have their own stuff.
That's a bit weird. Yeah, ball gown, bit much, mate.
That's a hard no for us. Crossing a line there, you know.
Ball gown, mate.
So that one was so funny. When I saw that one, I was like, this is really good.
What did you poke your head in from the office? Just you want to get a little look at that.
No, so this was just on the chat.
How do
Him
you
asking
rank
for them.
and throw pies?
works.
Like, that's...
I don't know if he ever ended up coming in. I just saw it on the chat.
That is,
Yeah.
I would quite like to hurl a pie at someone, but not for like
doesn't it sound like fun?
$260.
Yeah. Well, half hour, $190. That could be quick pie throwing.
Do you think everything is sexual, or is any of it just like I've wanted to do this to another human being?
I mean, that one sounds.
Do you know what I mean?
That one sounds good. I mean,
I would like you to dress up as like some kind of chicken and just catch you, and it's not sexual at all.
Oh, there is a guy. So there is a guy.
There's a guy for everything, man.
He's a Hasidic Jew, and he comes in and he's her dog, and they just play fetch. She pets him. She takes him on little walks. He drinks some water out of the bowl.
So
I think
what room
he's
would they go
Hasidic
to?
Jew?
that's in the castle room.
Oh, so wait, you mean
He's
the
Hasidic,
proper
yeah.
like?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So they probably wouldn't be happy if they found out about that, would they?
There's quite a few Hasidic Jews that come in.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? So
yeah
it
no, they
says
would not be
nothing
happy
in the
about
Torah
it. They would not be happy about it. no.
Dog dressing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
They have a lot
So
of rules about.
she just and like she
So
pets him.
shellfish.
Yeah,
I think she takes a electric razor and shaves his chest sometimes.
Well, that's just.
You know,
That's just getting it done.
grooms
Yeah.
him.
Let's get that done, to be fair.
I like the ideas of the
Yeah.
guys going in for just general, like, you know, getting like a haircut
Checkups,
or like
yeah.
just like getting a
Yeah,
toothbrush. Just,
I really get off when someone brushes my teeth, washes my hair,
Yeah.
gives me a haircut.
yeah.
Some just want like a girlfriend experience, you know, for a little bit.
Yeah, because if you could cram in enough activities for like 160, and you really do, like
Yeah,
your,
you really-
your fetish is getting it
Yeah,
smashed on
yeah,
time. You can
like-
get like a haircut, wash, bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
You can really say
So,
some
yeah.
and then you have to keep pretending
Bit of
you're
styling
free. Oh
tips.
yeah, and you're like trying to whack. You're like,
you're
wait, actually a bit more off the side. Oh yeah, fucking yeah.
You're not get hard. You're gonna give me a lopsided haircut, right?
You're not giving me a good enough massage as you're doing it as well. Like, I need a massage.
A twisted knot in the.
Yeah.
falling
Need a bit of
asleep-
physio.
falling
My thing is physio.
I was like, are you
What,
falling
190?
asleep? Like, you falling asleep? I'm like, no, I'm really into it. Really into it. Yeah, Jackson.
Honestly, if you're getting physio, probably 190 is probably a bargain on that. Like, it's a good price.
I'm about to come. Can you just stretch out my hamstring? Fucking title weeks for title week.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is hard, mate. You should feel the knots in my back. Jesus Christ.
Discomfort. Oh man.
Wow, this has been so much fun. God.
Yeah, so my absolute fetish is for someone to do my tax return.
Half an hour, yeah. Can you write some comedy?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Write me jokes.
But I'm interested. How did you get into stand-up comedy? Away from the dungeon, briefly.
Yeah.
How did you get into? A lot of people listen to this, like sort of the comedian stories. What was your first gig? How did that happen?
So I mean, I just people already thought like I did it. It seemed, and then I was like in a weird, bad.
People thought you did it already.
Well, just because like I think
Nice,
feel.
isn't it?
That's
I
great.
guess
I
it's
Yeah.
happen.
never-
Or it depends how they do it.
Well, I guess it's like, there's like a mechanism like when you go to parties, right? I feel like as comics, mine was always like if I felt like nervous, is sort of like start to chat to people.
But
And
I feel
be
like that's a very difference between like British and American parties. I feel like in America people are much more open in speaking, whereas in British parties it's just like people pushed up against the wall awkwardly sitting like.
Yeah, I've always sort of come to awkwardness. Like, I had a weird. I guess I got sent away when I was a kid to like a wilderness treatment center, followed by like a Mormon therapeutic boarding school. They
so
they
we've
don't
done that
advertise
story.
as Mormon,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
what is it? You've done that story?
No one's ever said anything
Even
so
close to a
crazily, so
Mormon,
casually.
yeah.
What?
Mormon boarding school retreat.
Sorry, by the way,
yeah.
Sorry, what was this? So you got
What was
sent
that?
out into the wilderness for a Mormon boarding school.
Well,
When-
yeah.
How old were you?
Because I ran away when I was 15,
Okay.
and then when they I was gone for 10 days, and when they found me,
Where did you go
Wait,
for
what were
10
you doing? Was it a
days?
boyfriend?
I went to no.
Oh.
I wanted to. This is so childish. I wanted to go to Disneyland with my friend who was older than me, so I ran away the opposite direction to Chico, California, and I was gone 10 days and had this like big adventure. But then they found me using what I was like posting on my live journal, starting with like this picture I had with this hot dog guy who's apparently this big drug dealer in Chico. It's like there's a lot of stories
Wow,
there.
that's how
You
do
said
we
more
only just
things.
start? There's so much to
You
get. We
said
need to
more
get her on
things
again.
in that sentence than I've lived in my life.
Yeah,
A hot dog drug dealer in
That was
Chico,
insane.
California.
What?
What is this?
So now,
Oh my
suddenly,
God.
by comparison, the dungeon is like your settled
Boring.
lifestyle.
Yeah,
of
it's
like,
kind of weird how
you
normal
just
your
chill,
job is
like,
compared to all the
exactly,
shit
like,
you've
it's
been
good.
through.
It's good that she's found somewhere stable.
Yeah.
Because I thought when you were talking about that job, I thought it was like kind of a quirky thing.
Yeah.
And you're doing
Like
a
a
bit
sudden,
like,
like,
oh no,
accountant.
you're really feeling some like
Yeah.
serious
I
trauma.
think it's
What was weirder, the hot dog experience or the boarding school?
the boarding school was pretty like horrific.
Was
You know
it
what I
like
mean?
was it like
Sorry.
Christian touchy or like?
No, it wasn't touchy.
Sorry, just for purpose of my head. Sorry. So you want to go to Disneyland with your friend. Your parents are
Yeah.
like, no. You
Absolutely
say,
not.
fuck you, I'm going. You
Yeah.
go in the opposite direction on your own, but you were going to go with your friend.
Well, so my friend actually drove me to Chico, and the plan was like I was going to be in Chico a few days, and I was going to take the train down from Chico to Los Angeles.
What's Chico like? Just so we got a bit of...
So Chico's like a party city. Like there's Chico State. It's like known as like a party city for college kids, you know? And so it happened to be spring break at the time too. So I was able to kind of pull off, I told people I was 17. So it's like I'm still underage, but I'm not underage enough for it to be creepy for like older people to be hanging out with me. And it was spring break, so it would make sense that I'm like in Chico.
Spring break,
Crazy,
Yeah, like kind of hanging out right now.
So you do that.
Yeah.
And then you get yourself live journaling?
So I was like live journaling, and
What's live journaling?
So live journal before the internet was like the internet that it is now. You know, like, because the internet used to be like the wild, wild west. Not everybody was on it. And like live journal was like an outlet. Like, you know, you would like write in your diary. But I kind of was a thing on live journal. Like, a little bit.
What was your name?
I thought I recognized
It's been dismissed. Like, I got suspended because... And so it's not there anymore, but it was you cock job.
You cock job.
Yeah. I was very mean on the internet too. I feel kind of bad.
You were an early troll. So this was 2003.
I was an early. This was.
So you've always been a dom kind of vibe.
This was it 2003? I went to.
I'm just going 17.
It was around 2003. It started probably 2001, 2003. I'd say.
Okay.
I was 15.
And what kind of stuff were you writing on as you?
Well, so I would write entries and post pictures and whatever, and I was gaining fans, you know? Like,
Nice.
I put my address on the internet and said, send me money. I got letters and money
so
in the mail.
links to the stuff that
That's how you
people
got the
are doing
CV,
now,
the
the
CV's
financial
packed.
dom shit.
Yeah.
You were an early adopter.
And that's
Yeah.
sort of funny, yeah.
Financial dom wasn't even big back then, and you had really.
You were
Yeah,
getting,
yeah.
getting oil paintings of your feet and sending them by pigeon off to some guy.
Wait, in
over
pre-internet, what is a big following? Did you have subscribers? Did you have?
Well, so I had like 500
clicks
followers
on the net?
on LiveJournal. So if you think about it, if this is before the internet is what it is, you know, that was like
That's
a
a
lot,
huge
you know,
yeah.
and it was building, you know what I mean? And people were reading it, and like I would post, and people would like send me things like, hey, my friend and I are talking about your post. They'd be like, she just posted, blah, and then they'd comment. And I was in like, you know, these forums on LiveJournal, being like a fucking asshole, really, but I was very quick-witted.
Sure.
So, and nobody knew how old I was, because I was like 14, 15, but I wasn't going to put that on the internet because I didn't seem smart, you know?
Yeah, don't want to catch a predator vibes.
Yeah, like I never like send nudes to anybody or whatever. You know, I was pretty just like rude, you know?
Yeah.
And, yeah, so...
cock job. So you're okay. So you're live. Sorry, just so now I'm getting back into the. So you're live journaling in Chico and going.
Yeah.
I'm on spring. Like I'm on
Well,
spring break,
I like wrote an entry and posted some pictures, and I guess like, you know, obviously like because I wrote a note to my mom and then left, and so obviously when she gets that note, you know, the cops get called, and now they're combing through my computer, they're contacting people.
This is pretty good stuff, actually. I want to subscribe to this blog.
Yeah, no, it was not.
and the police are like, "This is great content. Like, so glad you."
She's gonna be a
onto this."
star.
What's
Yeah,
the internet? This is incredible.
The
Yeah.
police are going to the local library to some desktop computer, blowing off the thing. God.
Well, it was fucked because I was like talking to people that I knew on the internet on my phone. So they were going through my phone records, calling these people like who lived across the country. They'd be like, "Do you know like, you know, Katharyn Henson?"
Cock job.
Yeah.
You cock job. What did you call me?
Yeah, and
Do you
like,
miss cock job?
You cock job. What do you make of that?
when it was very alarming for some of these people because they were like, "What do you mean I've been talking to a 15-year-old on the phone?" You know what I mean? They're
Oh,
like,
fuck,
"What?"
you were cool. Fuck.
Yeah, because we just talk, you know, and honestly, like nothing insane happened, but it was like, you know what I mean? Some of these dudes might be like 17, 18 or women, you know, and they're like, wait, I've been talking to a 15-year-old, I've been sending money to a 15-year-old, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was pretty nuts.
So then they found you.
So they found me.
because
Well,
because
so
you
I-
posted pictures.
Yeah, and
and
I-
these are posting pictures with like digital camera,
Right.
USB into
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's
yeah,
a whole
yeah.
ordeal to
a
get him
whole
up,
ordeal, yeah. And I'd been staying with like a suicide girl at one point.
course, yeah.
What's a suicide girl?
So a suicide girl, it's like alternative, like punk rock porn, like softcore porn. You know what I mean? Like, and like I took photos of her that she had. That's a whole thing. And then I was staying with a girl who like had started one of the first social media websites. Like this is like before. This is right when Friendster came out.
Yeah, like Pixar, Friendster.
So this was like lipstickparty.com, and it was for like scene kids. You know, kids in like the emo scene, hardcore scene.
How did you know these people from LiveJournal?
Well, because but I was also like kind of like a, you know, I was like
You
a
were a
little
scene kid.
scene kid.
You
Yeah.
were cool.
A little bit,
What
yeah.
happened?
I know, right? Just,
you're still
now I'm
cool,
so
still
normal
cool.
and square.
By the way, we're all looking at you with wide
compared
mouths
to
for
this
gape.
room, you are the coolest thing we've ever had in here.
And to be fair, not ever had in here. It's not
Yeah.
hard to be cooler than us three
Yeah.
generally, but you certainly the coolest guest I would be confident.
Okay,
so they capture you. They don't capture you, but they get you back.
So
And
they
then
find
they're like,
me.
there's only one way to solve this.
Yeah, well, and also,
Mormon
so
camp.
just like when they found me, like I had met this guy, so I had never. This is just like an aside because it's kind of important. Like I had never kissed anybody at this point, and like so I basically had my first kiss with
thought
like
you were
this-
cool.
Yeah,
Sorry, you so much. I had my first kiss on the run. Like
So
this
you-
is like
I did, like with a
Bonnie
guy
and
and a
Clyde.
You
girl.
were live journaling. You knew suicide girls and all this shit, but you were still like.
I was like-
wonder if I'll ever kiss anyone on the lips.
Yeah, like I'd kiss somebody in a school play. You know what I mean?
Oh.
So like I was sitting there one night like drinking tequila with this guy and this girl who ran Lipstick Party, and he was like a friend of hers. And I told them we were watching Boogie Nights. I was like, I've never been kissed, and they were both like, what? They were like, that's crazy. So like I can't remember who I kissed first, but I kissed both of them. And then this guy ended up being like, why do you have to go to Los Angeles? And I was like, oh, I just have like business to attend to, even though I was going to go to Disneyland and then I was going to go home and be punished for what I've done. Because I like knew this would end, but I was like, I'm going to go have fun
Blaze of
first.
Glory, let's go, yeah.
Yeah, but he was like, well, why don't you just stay? And I was like, I can't stay. But I ended up staying with him for a few days, and that's where they found me, right?
Never fucking guys ruin the fucking.
Yeah, like it was.
Cops
It was
bust down the door.
Toxic men.
So he had gone. So basically, they had studied my live journal. They had talked to enough people, and then they went to my best friend Barbara, and they were like, who was also. So I had two friends at this point, like that were really close to me. Barbara, who was my age, and Danielle, who had driven me there, and she was like 18. So she was in. They were starting to put all this together. So now she's in fucking trouble, you know, but she hasn't said anything yet. And Barbara's the one that folded like a, cheap house of cards. She was supposed to be so punk
It's always
rock.
a Barbara.
Yeah, right? But she was like punk, you know what I mean? Like that, whatever. But they were like Barbara.
But all
like,
on the outside, though, innit?
yeah.
She didn't have the punk
right
core
in her
like
heart,
you
know what I
Katharyn.
mean? Yeah. And so even though she's like since like become addicted to heroin and then gotten off,
Well,
whatever,
fair play,
you know.
Barbara, fair play.
Yeah.
She
But-
showed us.
I take it back. Jesus Christ, Barbara. Jesus Christ.
Should have said all that shit. Maybe we should have
Yeah.
done that.
Yeah, made-
Trying
made
to
up
prove
I,
something.
I goaded her into it.
Yeah, really made up for it.
You know when I took heroin for the first time? Until fucking all I do is fail podcast. They laughed at me.
So they were like, Barbara, like we know, you know, and so she ended up kind of being like, oh, this is what happened, because the plan was, I guess, I was gonna have this guy drive me to. It became apparent pretty quickly that I wasn't gonna make it to Los Angeles because the guy who was gonna bring me money, his car broke down on the way to Chico. I really didn't have any money because I was 15 and I packed all of my CDs in my guitar case. Do you know what I mean?
That's
Stupid
all you
shit.
need, yeah.
I had no
So you
money.
were traveling with what? A backpack
I
and
was
a guitar
traveling with a
case?
backpack and a guitar case filled with CDs.
Right.
Like-
Full of My Chemical Romance CDs.
like,
This is
no,
like,
first of all,
Bullet
I've
for
always
my
had
Valentine.
taste. Thank you. I never liked that band.
What was the CDs?
What were you
Any
listening to?
what
Yeah.
CDs?
I mean, honestly, frankly, it was like Belle and Sebastian
Okay,
and
right,
like Herman's Hermits, like some weird fucking shit,
Yeah.
like a little bit of like, New York Dolls. It was ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, so stupid. And I was like gonna have this guy that I was staying with, Justin, like drive me to Oroville. Like I was basically negotiating. I called my mom once and I was kind of like, all right, the deal is like I'm not coming home. When I come home, I'm gonna stay with Barbara and her family because that house was just like anything goes, And I was like, and we can work on like why this happened,
Wow.
I was kind of trying to big dick the situation. Little did I know, they've got other things in store. So like basically they were able to trace me. They started in at the Suicide Girl's house. They saw basically the hot dog guy and a photo that I had taken in a tattoo parlor in Chico of a dragon. So they started.
And that's all you need. The case closed.
My mom told me.
this is like literally like a film noir. Like, it's like the film Brick or something. Just like from the,
I saw the hot dog guy.
the dragon photo.
Yeah, exactly.
It started with the hot dog guy because they were like, she's in Chico. Then they went to the tattoo parlor where the boyfriend of the Suicide Girl worked, then traced it to the Suicide Girl, traced it back to the Lipstick Party girl's house, who then was like, she's with this guy Justin. And all this time, they're all finding out I'm 15, one by one, and are like, what the fuck?
Jesus, yeah.
Because I've outdrank, at this point, I've outdrank some of these people. Like, like the Suicide Girl, we both, like, the whole reason I even knew her was from the internet. We like to abuse Ambien. And, like, the night I stayed there, she, like, took a bunch of Ambien and ended up crying in her shower. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, what a pussy. Even, you know, like,
What is Ambien?
it's a sleeping
drug.
pill, but if you stay awake,
Is it like Xannies?
it gives you that nice mellow feeling like
Sure.
Xanax, but like you're meant to go to sleep, but if you stay awake, you can like trip, you know, like and like Roseanne
Yeah.
Barr
Did
like
you
tripped
say
into racism,
Did
you know.
say Xannies?
Yeah.
Ratios.
The Zans.
I ended the sentence with ratios.
Zannies,
Like, that's
Zannies,
what I said,
Zannies.
Zannies.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they find me. So basically, this guy Justin had gone out
How
to
old
get.
is Justin?
He's 20. And he has been my first like real. So we didn't fuck, but I definitely am pretty certain I like sucked his dick, you know. But he didn't like make me
No,
do
you have
it.
those nice like that.
Yeah.
Like, I think I did. I would say I did.
it's
but it
That's
might-
There was a lot of
Isn't it?
Ambien involved.
Yeah, technically, but
But he didn't know.
But I was 17, so technically it was still statutory. I was 17 to them, but I was 15 in real life. I told everyone I was 17 because it's still illegal.
Statutory.
It's still
It's
statutory.
18. It's 18, isn't it?
In California,
Your voice got very high pitched, just like.
They don't enforce that. That's
like everybody's like,
that's a slap on the wrist one, isn't it? That's not the
No,
actual
what do you mean?
Because here it's under 16.
in California, it's
Just
it's
to be certain, in this
17.
country. Just in this country.
In California, I'm pretty certain it's
18, yeah.
It's below 18, right? So that's why I said 17
Losers,
because
yeah.
it's still illegal, but it wasn't as bad as 15.
Yeah,
right?
so I've told this before, but when I was 17, I dated an American girl, and I lied about my age, but it was in the UK, and
Right.
and when she found out, she was annoyed because she was like, in my country, it would have been a
Yeah,
crime.
technically a crime. So that's why it was like he knew I was 17, so he's still entering at his own risk, but I'm not 15. But when he found out, you know, so basically he went out to get burritos, right? And then I was on
So to speak.
AOL Instant Messenger,
what you
and one
mean.
of these dudes,
AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah.
No, well.
and one of these dudes I'd been talking to, just like, you know, an internet friend of mine who was in another state, messaged me, and he was like, because I was not logging on a lot because I had a feeling they were looking for me. And so I log on, and he's like, hey, I got a phone call from your like brother. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, they're looking for you. And also they know where you are now. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, wait. I was like, no, you got to call him back. Tell him I'm somewhere else. You know, I'm like panicking. Yeah. And as I'm panicking, I hear this dude come home, right? So I like go to the top of the stairs, and he's coming up the stairs, and he like looks at me, and I'm looking at him, and he goes, I'm sorry. And I was like, what? And then the cops are behind him, and I'm like, oh fuck. And then they like handcuff me, and I'm in my pajamas, and they put me back in this police car, and my mom is there, my brother's there, my mom's like, I love you, and I'm like, fuck, you know. And they tell this dude I was 15, so of course he's like, holy shit, you know, because like we've now been like making out and dick sucking and yeah.
Potential, alleged.
Yeah, right.
sucking.
So then they asked me, did he do anything with you? And of course I'm like, no, like, because, you know, I'm not stupid, and it was my choice, you know what I mean? Like, I liked him. He seemed like he liked me, and, you know, and I think he did. I'm very charming. So,
First kiss as well.
yeah,
Big
like
thing.
him.
What does he do now?
I have no idea because
Dick's heroin, so yeah.
I did talk to him
There's a
after
lot
I
to do
got
in jail at
out.
the moment.
Because after I got out of the whole...
Get a college degree.
You can do all sorts in jail.
I did talk to him after I got out of everything, but I was like in a pretty dark place after going through like.
Sorry,
what-
this isn't the dark place. This is you.
This is a happy space.
This is Katharyn on the wing. She's on the out.
I'm
She's
like,
running away from home.
Party
She's taking
time.
Ambien, potentially dick sucking, all that shit.
Dick sucking. Ambien.
Alleged.
But then,
Alleged.
I sort of went off the rails.
Okay. So let's shift the song because we haven't got much time left. So you get done for that. It's all bad, and your parents are like, right, you go to Mormon boarding school. You're off.
Right.
Do they
Okay.
pretend? Are they like, we're actually going to take you to Disneyland because you need to get this out of your system? You're like, yes, and then they're like, psych.
No, they were like, you know, well, when we passed, so at the time I was living in, my mom was in Sacramento. So when we passed Sacramento, driving back, I was like, oh, fuck, they're not taking me home.
Oh, they took you straight to.
They drove my ass to Utah. They drove me to another car. Like, so we drove all night for hours, and then they dropped me off with another lady who then drove me the rest of the way. And so, like, I'm in the car, you know, because, like, some people try to run, but when I'm caught, I'm like, all right, now it's time to just be on your best behavior because you don't really know what the fuck's going to happen. You got to, like, assess. So when we passed it, I was like, fuck, I'm not going back. So I was like, you know, so where am I going? They're like, well, you're going to go to a place, you're going to be doing a lot of outdoors stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I guess I'll just stay in my room. I don't really like the outdoors. And because I was sort of like well-behaved or whatever, they ended up telling me exactly where I was going. And I was like, what do you mean? You know, like, they drop you off an hour in the middle of nowhere with a group, and you're out in the wilderness for like 6 weeks. I mean, that's what happened.
So there used to be a TV show in the UK about British kids going to one of these like rehabilitation.
Wait, is this
6
the
weeks.
ranch one?
It was used to be called Brat Camp.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
Channel
yeah.
4.
When they do it on the ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is
It's-
that what it was?
Yeah, it's like a very similar sounding thing.
Yeah, there was that one because there was that, and then I got sent to a second place, like immediately following that, like taken from one to the other. But yeah, I mean, that's what it was.
It's sort of outwards bounds for teenagers to try and get them grounded and back on track.
Yeah, if like that's
Right.
honestly like it wasn't that bad. Like that wasn't that bad compared to the second place, which was like
What happened in the second place?
the second place was just like
Be careful of poor Ali. This is quite a lot.
This is a lot.
He
He spends most of his weekends reading. This is like what happened in the second.
This sort of, I don't even know how long it is, month of
Yeah.
your life. It's causing me to
That was
stress out.
Yeah, that was actually 3 days.
So
It all happened in 3 days.
And this isn't even the dark bit of your life.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Okay. So you get So first place is fine.
the first place is like okay. I mean, it's still
Why did you get sent to the second place?
Well, because this is all like a money-making scheme, really. Like, you know, they like to give this idea that, we have like a one-stop shop for all problems. And if you send your kids here, we'll fix them all. Like, in this way, it will work for everybody.
Right, and it's like drugs, like depression.
Yeah, drugs, anorexia, blah, you know, whatever. Like, has your child been raped? Send them here. It'll be fine. You know, like, seriously. And it's not like that. And it's all like a network of... It's all like under different umbrellas of companies that, you know, all like work in cahoots to be like, oh yeah, no, your kid's definitely in need of a secondary treatment center. You can't just send them to the wilderness and then bring them back home. They need to go to this other place for a year.
So you went to Wilderness, and then you went to what's the second place?
The second place was called Copper Canyon Academy. They've since changed the name.
Copper Canyon Academy.
Yeah,
That's fine.
it's not nothing like what it sounds. And they've
Was there a
changed the
canyon?
name. There were mountains. There was a canyon in my heart during the time I was there.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like
Bars, yeah.
it's basically punishment-based therapy, which is not therapy.
Okay,
you
so
know?
it was a boarding school vibe.
It's not like boarding school implies it might be fun sometimes, and this was not that.
Yeah.
Like you're punished. Like you're put on a level system. So like level 1s are not allowed to wear shoes. You're not allowed to use tampons. You're not allowed to look at or talk to.
Not allowed to use tampons.
You have
But
to
this is
earn
quite
the privilege of
this is
tampons.
dom
That's not even a
sub things
punishment
going
for
on
the
as
guys.
well. This genuinely
Yeah,
explains
except it's
a
like
lot.
adults doming children,
Yeah.
which is like, you know, which in some countries
But it
is
explains a
illegal, you
lot,
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you earn the privilege of tampons by moving up to another level, you know? And like you can't look at, talk to, have third-party communication with other level 1s. So like if you're a level 1 and I'm a level 1 and I'm talking to you, you can't talk to him because I'm talking to him. And when I'm done, you can talk to him, but I can't even acknowledge you exist. I can't even look at you.
Right.
And if they see, and like moving up is like telling on everybody. So let's pretend we glance at each other for a second and some level 2 across the room sees it. They can go to staff and be like, I saw that level 1, look at that level 1. And then we get punished. It's like insanity.
The worst.
Okay, so
game
what
ever.
happened-
Under the guise of we will fix you and reunite your
work?
family. No, what it does.
What level did you make it to?
Before my mom fortunately pulled me, I was on level 2.
Bash level.
You only got to level 2.
Okay,
This nerd would have been level 5 snitching on everyone
I would've-
so
Only
quickly.
4 levels.
I'm levitating.
Yeah, literally. This guy would have
vision.
been. He would rat people out in 1 second. It
Well,
wouldn't
there's
even
only
be.
4
actually not my
levels.
style.
To be fair, there's 4 levels, and they structure it so you there bare minimum a year. They do that on purpose because then they're just taking your money, and they make it like they made my mom pay somewhere. I want to say like. Because I have all the paperwork, like $3,000 for uniforms, which were all used and like trash, like Dickies and just like Hanes t-shirts in certain colors.
Sounds like streetwear.
Yeah,
mate.
it sounds what people wear now.
Yeah,
It's
right?
Vintage Dickies.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Workwear.
People, dickheads, but yeah.
You know, like it's all just like a lie. You know, my mom was lied to, like across the board. I was lied to, but then they formed it so like when you're there and you're on level 1. Your mail is read. You can't. There's no phone calls, so you can't communicate to. And they manipulate. They're like, your daughter will try to tell you things about this place because she's unhappy, and you know, don't enable her by listening, whatever. So you're just fucked, you know. And when you start recognizing that you're fucked, and if you're smart
You
enough
have
to realize
to
that.
conform.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole premise of it is to break you down and then build you back up as this like fucking robot and then send you home. But really, it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that, you know? And some people go home and then they relapse. I mean, my very good friend there is dead. She killed herself. You know what I mean? It's like, because her issues were with being adopted and like having eating disorders and low self-esteem and like when you're punishing somebody for feeling these feelings and acting out in a way, you're reinforcing like negativity. I mean, she's dead, you know, like, so it's like, it doesn't work in my opinion. I'm sure it's worked for some people, but like, it's way more traumatizing than not. So yeah.
Okay. And so you were there for an entire year, and like, was it like regular school?
I wasn't there a year, fortunately. Like, I was only there like 4.5 months, but it does.
So brutal, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the people that I know who were there longer, like, I have, you know, way, or in some ways, way worse off than I am, you know? But, like, it definitely reinforced, like, anxiety and mistrust. I mean, I feel like I learned a lot about the world and how it works very quickly in that type of environment, you know?
People snitching.
Yeah, I mean, people will do anything for money and, like, you know, whatever. Like, and then bitches or snitches don't always get stitches. You know what I mean? They get rewarded.
Superficially, well, you know us now for about 2 hours. Who's most likely to snitch out of us two?
This guy. You joking?
Were you implying that I'm a snitch?
No. There's zero chance that it's not you. There's zero chance.
I feel like the one who would ask the question.
As if I was a snitch. Just because I'm a mustache, I mean I was a snitch.
I'm going to snitch on Horatio. He told me he was a snitch.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. We're gonna be having words.
I plead the fifth.
Well, that was like the most exciting life story we've ever had on this podcast.
Thank
I think
you.
That was absolutely amazing.
What if I was like, it's all made up? No.
Well, it's more impressive, probably.
Yeah.
That's actually the quickness of that.
Well, we'd cut that out, but like it's something impressive. Yeah, I mean, is there anything you want to plug on social media before we go?
Just I'll plug my Instagram,
Yep.
which is ew, that's spelled EW, girl, you nasty. And I do a podcast with a New York comic called Somewhat Scientific.
Ooh.
And I think I'm going to be doing a podcast with an Irish comic here about being like traveling, because I'm going to be in Australia doing the Melbourne Comedy Festival after this. And we're going to be traveling around, and it's called This American Irish Life.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
So it should be fun.
Guys, one more time. You can get tickets for our live show.
So not smooth.
No, I thought you were going to take it over.
One more time.
Yeah.
One more time. I thought you were going to give Katharyn Henson, everybody.
Yeah.
But then, okay. So just bookending the show. If you want to come see all this fun live, you can do on Friday, 21st of February at 8:30 p.m. That's at the Horse and Stables in Waterloo. It is tickets available now on Vault Festival website, so vaultfestival.com. Check out and search for All I Do Is Fail. Don't search for AIDIF, might confuse things, might not come up. All I Do Is Fail, and you can get tickets to come watch us live. We'd love to have you in, and we'd love to meet you guys as well. So please do come. Horatio's not there. If you're coming for him, don't come for him. But you can buy tickets to Namibia on
all good travel websites. Thank you so much, Katharyn.
Yeah,
that was
thanks
incredible.
for having me.
All right, thanks, Ali.
Thank you very much. And tickets for my show as well, my solo stand-up show. They are starting to move, so if you want to get them, please do while you can. It's on 5th and 6th of February, so that's Wednesday and Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Similarly, Vault Festival website, search for Ali Woods, and I'll see you there.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.